I wasn't sure if you were actually going to come." Penny smiled as she held open the door for Kevin. When Kevin arrived at Penny's mansion out in the suburbs, she greeted him at the door and invited him in. He was there to help create a pill to help Penny's friend, who was very ill. But he was surprised to find out that Penny had some friends there hanging out with her. As soon as he walked inside, Kevin was stunned. It wasn't because of all the luxurious furniture and expensive artwork, but because of all the beautiful women hanging out by the pool. Suddenly he heard a charming voice. "Penny, who is this man you've brought with you? He's just your type, isn't he?" The woman sauntered over to Kevin and lifted up his chin. "He's very handsome, but he's dressed in rags." She paused a moment and asked him, "Tell me, sugar, what's your name?" Kevin stammered, unsure how to deal with her. After all, he had just spent the day before with his wife, Lily. He couldn't let someone like Penny distract him from his goal of reuniting with Lily. "Come on, Brenda, let's not do this again. I didn't bring Kevin here to entertain you." Penny was a little irritated by her friend's behavior. Penny's other friends heard this and came over to check Kevin out. They were a little confused to see him interrupt their get-together. They all knew that Penny hadn't had a steady boyfriend in years, so who was this guy? She was usually interested only in really rich, successful men. At the same time, Kevin was wondering about Penny's friends. Based on her status, he was pretty certain that they were all from very wealthy families. "What are those rags you're wearing?" one of them asked him. "Don't they make you feel uncomfortable?" "Keep your voice down. He's Penny's guest." One of the other women didn't want to offend their host. They were interrupted by a sharp cry. "Kevin, how dare you come here?" Out of the corner of his eye, Kevin could see a figure walking up to him quickly from the doorway. She was tempted to take a swing at Kevin, but picked up on his strong presence and stepped back a little. "Mackenzie," Kevin whispered to himself. He'd recognized her right away as Mackenzie Knott, Penny's friend that Kevin had accidentally seen changing her clothes on a video call when he'd stolen Penny's phone. Mackenzie leaned in and whispered into Kevin's ear, "If you say a word about that video to anyone, I'll kill you. I can't have my friends find out." Before Kevin could reply, Penny stepped forward. "What's the matter with you, Mackenzie? What are the two of you arguing about?" She knew her friend had a hot temper, but she also knew that Mackenzie wasn't in the habit of picking fights with people for no reason at all. "It's just a misunderstanding, Penny. I don't have any idea who this woman is." Kevin tried his best to keep from embarrassing Mackenzie. "I don't know him either." Mackenzie turned her head and looked Penny in the eyes. Then she asked her, "Why did you bring this guy here? We were all having such a good time without him." Penny figured it was as good a time as any to introduce him to her friends. "His name is Kevin, and we're in the same class at the School for the Healing Arts. I invited him here to prepare an herbal med for Mackenzie." Penny felt it was necessary to explain because she could see the confusion in Brenda's eyes. "You're going to let him make a pill for Mackenzie? Penny, are you kidding?" Brenda sneered. One of the other women had her doubts too. "The med that Mackenzie needs would be difficult for a master apothecary to create, let alone some ordinary person." They couldn't believe that this young man dressed in shabby clothes would be able to do something so specialized. They all started to mock Kevin. "Are you sure he can do this, Penny? Herbal meds aren't a joke." Brenda frowned because she was so worried that this could go wrong. "Don't worry." Penny looked at Kevin with a smile and said, "My good friend Mackenzie needs a blood balance pill. Can you create one for her?" Keeping his talent a secret, Kevin tactfully asked, "The blood balance pill is used for someone who's been injured. It seems to me that she's doing fine right now. Is there some other reason you've chosen it?" "Well, Kevin, Mackenzie's been training since she was a child. Her family is really into it and they know a lot about herbal meds. The problem is she has a really hard time with unbearable pain once a month, if you know what I mean. Have you ever heard of Penny hesitated because she knew it was a very personal issue for her friend, but she was desperate to help Mackenzie and decided to tell Kevin the whole truth. "Penny, how can you tell him something like that?" Mackenzie looked absolutely horrified. She and her friends had spent a lot of time and effort trying to find a cure for her, but when they finally found a recipe that might help, they couldn't find anyone qualified to prepare it. She was desperate. When he heard this, Kevin suddenly thought of something that he'd learned in his studies. If her problem is what you described, the blood balance pill can only cure the symptoms, not the root cause. "Oh, you mean you have a better way?" Penny's face lit up in surprise. If Kevin was right, there might be another solution. Why not try it? But some of them wondered if Kevin was just trying to impress them, and they eyed him suspiciously. He seemed to be promising something he probably couldn't do. How could they trust him? "I think he's trying to trick you, Penny. You should just show him the door." Mackenzie didn't want to have anything to do with Kevin in this crazy plan. "Don't worry, Mackenzie." In fact, Penny wasn't completely sure herself. Then she added, "Why don't we at least listen to him?" With an all-knowing smile, Kevin thought to himself, "These people have been doubting my power since the second I walked through the door. It will be fun to prove them wrong." Turning to Penny, Kevin announced, "The blood balance pill could help the symptoms a little bit, but it sounds like Mackenzie's problem has been around since childhood. We really need to do something to get at what's causing her problems." Having said that, Kevin stopped for a moment and then asked cautiously, "Have you ever heard of the repair pill?" Everyone's eyes bugged out when they heard him say that. The repair pill was only a myth as far as they were concerned. It hadn't been used in a ridiculously long time, and the closest thing to it was strictly controlled by the Herbalist Society. But Mackenzie didn't have any connections to the society, so it was impossible for her to get one. "Can you actually make a repair pill?" Penny asked in shock. She'd been worried about her friend constantly and was willing to try anything. That's the whole reason she'd brought Kevin over to her place. "I'm sure I can do it," Kevin said with confidence. "But that's impossible. Nobody knows how to make the repair pill anymore." Mackenzie was the first one to object to the plan. "Are you trying to poison our friend with your nonsense? Do you know what we can do to you if you hurt her?" Brenda was staring daggers at Kevin. She looked like she wanted to gouge his eyes out. Kevin pursed his lips. "I can definitely do it. Only I have one condition." "What condition is that?" Penny looked a little unsure when she saw Kevin smiling so strangely.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.